Welcome back to my podcast, The Truth About Us. So I developed this space where we talk about the things that men are thinking, but rarely say aloud. And it's the conversations about pressure and identity and purpose and responsibility and what really feels like when we're carrying the weight quietly in life. So I'm Don Crampert from Unstoppable Life, and I will be your host. And if this is your first time here, so glad that you found your way here. And if you're a loyal listener and you just got back and you're returning, thank you for coming back and welcome home. So today we're going to be talking about something very subtle, something a little quiet, and something that doesn't get announced or acknowledged out loud or in public or in visual. Today we're talking about when confidence quietly disappears. And not overnight, and not dramatically, but slowly, a little bit at a time over the years. And if you've ever wondered why you don't feel like the person or the man that you used to be, this episode is going to be for you. It certainly is for me. So confidence doesn't usually just collapse. It fades when most of us, and men in particular, think confidence disappears after a big failure or a major setback. Like, maybe losing a job or getting a divorce or having a financial hiccup, a major issue, a major mistake. But for most men that I've spoke to, including myself, that's not what actually happens. See, confidence rarely explodes. It erodes slowly and quietly, almost invisibly, right before our eyes. And then you know what happens? You know when it happens. It's while we're busy doing all the right things. We're busy providing and protecting and showing up for others and being the responsible person. And when we're functioning normally, not having setbacks and failing. And that's why this is so confusing for us. Because from the outside, everything looks great. But on the inside, which is where it really matters, you don't feel the same. You don't speak up the same way. We don't take the same risks that we used to. We don't even think and dream the same way anymore. And maybe the hardest part, we don't even know why or when that started. So responsibility over time changes how we see ourselves. There's a shift that happens when life moves from possibility to responsibility. We all know this, like in our 20s and 30s, sometimes even in our 40s, life feels open. Like, we try new things and we experiment and we take risks. And then life changes and it gets a little bit more difficult and real. We have careers and we get married and we have kids. And now all of a sudden we have a mortgage and bills and people start depending on us more. And without us realizing it, our identity shifts from what could I become to what must I maintain? Does that feel and sound familiar? And that shift changes everything. Because when responsibility increases, our risk tolerance decreases. And then we stop asking ourselves, what do I want? And we start asking, what could go wrong? So this is kind of where our quiet self-doubt shows up. Okay? And it doesn't show up as a loud voice. It kind of shows up quietly as a whisper or a hesitation or a pause before we speak or second guessing before decisions. It's a feeling that we feel somehow we're behind and we start saying and doing things like, I think I should be further along. I missed my window. It's probably too late. I can't mess this up. Yeah, ever hear that? And here's the dangerous part. You start believing that and you start playing it safe. But we believe playing safe is maturity. And really it's not. And it certainly did for me when I realized something. That playing safe was fear wearing responsibility as a disguise. So here's the weight of being needed. Okay? When people depend on us, we or they stop depending on us. We stop feeling needed and allowed, and we're not allowed to struggle. We become the problem solver and the problem. And the problem solver becomes the calm one, and the calm one becomes the reliable one, and then we become the strong one. And strong men don't talk about uncertainty. Strong men don't admit fear. Strong men don't say, I don't know. So what happens? We stop sharing our doubts. We stop sharing our dreams. We stop sharing our struggles. And then slowly, we stop trusting the most important person, which is ourselves. And then we stop trusting our own voice. So here's the confidence gap that I experience, and hopefully I can clear this up. And this is the truth that we don't realize. Confidence isn't lost because we became less capable. Confidence is lost because we became more cautious, right? More responsibility became more pressure, and more fear of mistakes, with fewer risks and fewer wins, and that creates less confidence. And it's not that we can't do something. It's just that we stopped allowing ourselves to try. And confidence doesn't grow from thinking. Confidence grows from doing. And you need to do it. And over time, responsibility, quiet replaces action with hesitation. And hopefully this sounds familiar, okay? But this is the identity drift that we have. One day we kind of wake up and realize that we don't know who we are, because outside of what we do for others, we forget our role. We forget what our job is. We forget our responsibilities. But the man underneath of all that, we've been quiet for a long time, and this creates a silent question many men never ask out loud or say out loud. What happened to me? So this is kind of the truth about confidence, okay? And confidence isn't a personality trait. That's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of taking action and making decisions and trying new things and surviving the mistakes and moving forward regardless of any obstacle. See, confidence grows through evidence. And if we haven't been creating new evidence, it begins to fade. And not because we failed, just because we paused too long. So let's rebuild from that quiet confidence. The good news? Confidence comes back the same way it left. Quietly. Through small actions, small decisions, small risks, small wins. Not big leaps, tiny steps. See, confidence isn't rebuilt in giant moments. It's rebuilt in micro actions. Maybe speaking up once, trying one new thing, doing the thing that maybe we've been delaying or avoiding. One action at a time. I call it the power of one. Just take one of those things, one action. So here's a reminder that everybody needs to hear, including myself. We didn't lose our confidence because we're broken. We lost our confidence because we've been carrying responsibility for years without replenishing ourselves. And we didn't become weak. We became careful. We became cautious, and we became responsible. And now it's time to become alive again with our confidence. So if this episode resonated with you, you're not alone. There are hundreds of men quietly asking the same question: where did my confidence go? And the answer is very, very simple. It didn't disappear. It just went quiet, and it's waiting for you to start moving again. So tune in next week for our episode called The Cost of Being the Strong One. We'll have a conversation about the hidden emotional price of always being the one that everybody depends on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and thank you for choosing truth over silence. Because this is the truth about us.